Get ready to have your mind blown. Get ready to close a lot more deals. Get ready to be different, sound different, say different things, do different things than your competition. We're going to go through something right now that I guarantee if you employ this today, right now, you probably get a deal today, okay? You're at least going to get a call back. And I guarantee you this, if you do what I'm about to tell you to do right here, right now, your prospect has never heard anybody talk like this before, and your competition is just not doing it, and you are going to level up to a higher level. What am I talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. 2 parts, okay? I want to put us in a position to follow up with authority, to follow up with credibility, to follow up where it's like, wow, I want to do that. The problem is, most of the time we forget why we're in business. We think we're selling apps. We think we're selling marketing. We think we're selling logistics. We think we're selling real estate. We're not selling any of that. We're selling the outcome. And it's so easy for us to forget, or worse, never even figure out the outcome that the person or the organization that we're working with is trying to achieve. Nobody is like, oh, hey, we got to buy some software because we don't have any software. There's an outcome behind everything. There's an outcome behind every purchase. So when you are initially talking to your clients, if you want to position yourself properly for the single most skillful message, which I'm about to go through with you right now, you have to get in the habit of asking some kind of uncomfortable questions in the beginning. Questions like, what can I get you information on? Right? Well, that's not uncomfortable. It is if you're not used to asking it. Because most of the time somebody will call, how's it going? Oh, that's great. Did you see the big game this weekend? How was your holiday? Nonsense. To move away from the what can I get you information on? Right? If you're calling back a lead that called in, hey, wanted to reach out to you personally, make sure my people got you all the information you needed. Man, thanks, Matt. My pleasure. What can I get you information on? Another question that you're probably not asking right now. What research have you done on us? Figure out where they're at in the sales process. What research have you done on us? Now let's get into the big ones that you're probably not asking that are going to position you to sound different, be much more skillful on your follow-up. Right? What's your biggest reason for blank? What's your biggest, just out of curiosity, what's your biggest reason for needing an app? Just out of curiosity, what's your biggest reason for needing sales coaching? What's your biggest reason for needing to sell the home? Or what's your biggest reason for moving? Right? What's your biggest reason for blank? That's going to tee you up into now asking questions, which I know probably none of you are asking, because this one takes a lot of courage to ask. But the minute you start asking this is the minute your life is going to turn around. The minute you start asking this is the minute you're going to start making a lot more money. Just out of curiosity, what's the next financial milestone that you're trying to hit with your life, if it's an individual? Or just out of curiosity, what's the next financial milestone that you'd like to hit with the organization? Why would we ask somebody, if we're in the business of selling apps or logistics or marketing, what's the next financial milestone you want to hit? Because nobody buys apps, logistics, and marketing. They're trying to make more money. They're trying to save time. And the more you guys can relate what you do to the outcome that they're looking for, the easier it's going to be for you to follow up and the easier it's going to be for you to close. Right? So if they're looking for a new logistics provider, have the guts to say, where are you guys at right now in terms of top line revenue for the company, and what's the next financial milestone you're trying to hit? We're a $13 million company, and we'd really like to get to 20 million bucks. Awesome. Now, how do you see logistics being able to help you hit that goal? Oh, glad you asked, right? If we had nighttime pickups, we can add an extra shift. Now you're having more skillful conversations. Now, some of you are like, well, I might sell a product that has nothing to do. We're selling safety equipment, right? What does that have to do with financial milestones? Are they getting fined, right? Can OSHA come in and fine them? Or what's the result that you want to achieve, right? We've had some issues in the past and we don't want to have another accident. Figure out ideally what that financial milestone is, because I don't think you guys are taking seashells for your product or hugs. You want money for your product, so it's probably a good idea for you to figure out the financial milestone. But if it's something like you're a real estate broker, what's kind of the next big thing that you want to achieve in your life? Man, well, when I get this move out of the way, I'd like to do bump, 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 right? Man, with this divorce that I'm going through, I'd like to sell this house, and then, ideally I'd like to move back to San Diego and get a condo, right? Now you know that next step that they want to achieve. Now, once you know this, once you've been skillful in your conversations, and you could write down things like what their mission is. Isn't that clever? Write down what that person's mission is. Every company you talk to has a mission. Every person that you talk to has a mission. And I'm not saying their overall general mission. I'm saying their mission for this thing that you're going to work with them right now. And then when you follow up, you could say, imagine that, because you've been trained on eastonuniversity.com. Does it make sense to blank? Does it make sense to sign the contract? Does it make sense to sign the listing agreement? Does it make sense for us to schedule the call with the board, right? Whatever it is, hopefully it's the close or the next step, schedule the call with the board. And now you can attach their mission to that. Might sound like this. Hey Bob, calling to see if it makes sense for us to get the apps in place for you so you guys can get well on your way to hitting that $17 million annual milestone. I'm on my mobile. 720-660-3202. Hey Phil, Matt Easton with Easton Real Estate, calling to see if it makes sense to get the listing agreement in place so we can get you out from under this big house and get you on your way to San Diego. I'm on my mobile, 720-660-3202. Guess what your competition is doing? Number one, they're not even following up. Number two, when they do, hey, happy weekend to you. Oops, it's not the weekend, it's the weekday. I don't know, I'm hungover. Happy day either way. Just calling to see, where we're at with the contract, right? Calling to see if it makes sense to blank. Hey, I'm calling to see if it makes sense to get the agreement in place so we can avoid another disaster like you had with OSHA last month. I'm on my mobile, 720-660-3202. When you know what their mission is, now you can attach the mission to the outcome that you deliver, to the does it make sense to blank, which is not pushy, not manipulative, not salesy. Calling to see if it makes sense to blank. Now listen to that. If I say it doesn't make sense to that, even if they answer the phone, hello, hey Bob, Matt Easton here with Easton University, calling to see if it makes sense to get your team access to the sales coaching so we can take you from that 3.5 that you did last year to over $6 million this year. Now Bob has to simultaneously, if he's saying no, has to also say he's not interested in getting to $6 million. Because I asked him what his biggest reason for sales coaching was. My people can't prospect and they can't close. If they could prospect and could close, let's say we fixed all that for you. What's the next financial milestone that you want to hit with the organization? We did 3.5 mil last year. I'd like to do 6 mil. 6 mil, got it, I'm gonna write that down, Bob. We're gonna do mission 6 million. Awesome. Does it make sense to get your team on board? No. Got it. What's a good next step? I got to talk to Pat. When are you going to talk to Pat? I'm going to talk to Pat later today. When you say later today, what time were you thinking? I'm going to talk to her at 2. Perfect. Why don't we do this? You talk to Pat. I'm going to send you a summary of our conversation. I'll include current situation, capabilities that you're looking for in terms of prospecting and closing, and then suggest some next steps. It's pretty simple to get you on board. And then if I don't hear back from you by 4:30 today, I'll circle back with you then. Fair enough? Sure. Hey Bob, Matt Easton, Easton University, as promised, it's 4:30 this afternoon, calling to see if it makes sense to get your team on board so that we can get you closer to that $6.5 million in annual revenue, right? Now notice what I'm not doing. I'm not putting myself back in the hole that Bob put me in with Pat. Hey Bob, calling to see if you had time to talk to Pat. Do I care if Bob had time to talk to Pat? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Okay, that's something that Bob said Bob needs to do to close the deal. That's not part of my sales process, right? Notice there's a huge difference here. Am I being obtuse? No. Am I being rude? No. Am I being forceful? No. But at the same time, I am not putting myself back in holes that my prospect put me in. Does it make sense to get your team on board? No. What's a good next step? I got to talk to Pat. That's not a set in stone rule that the Senate approved last quarter that says anytime they buy something, Bob has to talk to Pat. That's what Bob is saying. So you guys, and we do this all the time, don't call Bob and go, hey, I'm just calling to see if you had an opportunity to talk to Pat. That's not what I want. I want a sale. I want Bob to sign the agreement. So I'm calling and saying, hey Bob, calling to see if it makes sense to sign the agreement so we can get your team on board, so we can get you on the road from $3.5 to $6 million. Now, if Bob wants to either call me back, and by the way, I say the same thing if Bob answers. If Bob wants to say, gosh, Matt, it really does, but I didn't get a chance to talk to Pat, right? Now we're back in the Pat hole because Bob put me back in there, not because I put myself back in there. And you guys have to realize this. You put yourself back in holes all the time, and your prospects love it. Why? Because they're giving you money. And when people have to give money, they're stressed out. And if you give them an out, they'll always take it, right? So always ask for the thing you want, the agreement signed. Now, if it's a case where it's like, these have to be signed by the board, I can't sign off on this on my own, then you're going to say, calling to see if it makes sense to get it in front of the board, right? Now, Bob might say, no. Got it, what's a good next step? I can't get it in front of the board unless I look at their calendar. When are you going to do that? I'm going to do that on Tuesday. I will know if I can get on their calendar next Tuesday. Got it, makes perfect sense. So you're going to look at the board. I'm going to send you a summary of our conversation, current situation, capabilities you guys need to move forward. And then based on my understanding, you're going to look for the board's calendar. It comes out on Tuesday. You'll know then when we're going to be on the board. I'll circle back with you Wednesday if I haven't heard from you before then. Now when I circle back with Bob on Wednesday, I'm not going, hey Bob, it's Matt, as promised, calling to see if you got on the board's calendar. Hey Bob, it's Matt, as promised, I'm calling to see if it makes sense to get us in front of the board, right? Yeah, it does. I didn't look at their calendar, but I'll make it happen. But if you go back to that thing, I need to get on their calendar. I need to talk to Bob. I need to talk to my spouse. These things are just going to get delayed over and over again. Does this make sense? If you work in sales and you need to make twice as much money as you do right now to really enjoy your life, you've really only got 3 options. Option number 1, you can continue to work your butt off in the job you have right now, hoping for some sort of miracle to happen where you start taking home double the money while doing things the exact same way you do them right now. That's pretty unlikely. Or option number 2, you can look for another job at a totally different company, hoping you're going to catch some sort of once-in-a-lifetime wave where sales just seem to flow your way. All right, again, highly unlikely, and we both know waves in sales, well, they don't last very long. Or option number 3, you can click the button here and get instant access to a simple, straightforward sales process that will help you take home twice as much money as you do right now while putting in far less effort than you do today. My name's Matt Easton. I'm the founder of Easton University, the most effective sales coaching system in the world. If you click the button, you're going to see how our interactive sales coaching portal and weekly live coaching sessions with me will help you double your income within 60 days. Easton University is more than an interactive sales coaching portal. It's more than being able to ask me questions in a live setting every single week. It's your future, and you and your future are worth it. Click the button. I will see you on the other side. Your life is about to get a lot better. Click through now.